Everybody listen up. Let's get it. I'm trying to put money in your pocket. That crypto wallet. That bing bada bing ching ching big profit. Even when the market's sideways, I'm looking for ways to get paid. I'm checking my coins around breakfast, then again around bedtime. Bet this, it's not financial advice, but I'm always right. 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 I'm always right.
What's going on, believers? Guys, taking a little bit different format today. This is going to be a pre-recorded video. We're going to look at the market. I'm going to try to give you as much news as I can, as quickly as I possibly can, so that we can move on with our days. If you like the channel, if you like the content, please subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Leave a comment in chat. Support the channel with a donation. A membership does wonders. But the first thing that we want to do is we want to look at Bitcoin. We want to see here, if you've been following anybody who's a technical analysis, then you'll know that we've been following this triangle for a little while. You can zoom out, you can zoom around, you can kind of see where it is. You're seeing a resistance line up here around 22,500. You're seeing another support line that kind of developed along this way. And the concern was that it would break to the downside. It keeps bouncing off of it, and it loses support for a little while. That's to be expected sometimes. But you want to get in this channel and continue to keep going up. And so far, we seem to have broken a little bit of support. The Asian markets in the overnight just really dumped hard. It's odd for a Sunday, but it is what it is. So this is, by the way, the 1 hour. If you look at the 4 hour, then you can see the same thing's pretty much happening here. It looks a little bit more dramatic. The way that it's playing out, you leave 15 minutes. 15 minutes shows a long swing outward. The price, by the way, is starting to pump again just a little bit. We're not getting a lot of pump, by the way, but we're getting a little bit going on right now. There was a low of around 20,800, 20,600. It seems to have pumped its way back up just a little bit. 20,900 is where it's sitting right now. We want to get this thing back up to 21. And of course, the resistance here is 22.5. Now, here's the thing: if we can make our way through this resistance line of 22,500, then it's smooth sailing all the way up to 24.5, where you're going to be the next resistance point. But we're not even close to it right now. So, let's see what the next few hours create, contribute. Maybe we'll start to see a little bit of a pump. But remember, the time is running short for anything massive to happen. You can see over here on the charts, everything's kind of bleeding except the Mina protocol, which is the only thing that looks like it's up in that last little while. And that change is just barely. So this is where we are. This is how it's at. And by the way, Bitcoin's down 666. So take that for what you will. This is the Ethereum chart. You can see here it's falling in line. Deviation or anything so far really just seems like it's following the exact same course. And it doesn't matter which one of these that you look at. At best, you can maybe make an argument here when you zoom in on the day chart that we're not so far out that we can't get back into this line. That's kind of what we're looking at. You look here and you see we've fallen out a few times. This just seems to be the longest period that it's fallen out. So if we can get over this resistance, then maybe we can start to make some better things happen, because these lines right here, these are not the best. These are not the best of lines. So here's hoping that we get some positivity. But we're going to move on now, and we're going to talk about a lot of news, because there's a lot of news that's been popping up just in the last short period of time. So let's take a quick look here. All right, first up, the U.S. urges Japan to shut crypto firms with Russian links. The The United States government has urged the Japanese government to increase pressure on crypto exchanges and miners who have links with Russia, according to a Financial Times report. The U.S. authorities continued with the Japanese should work towards ensuring crypto companies operating within its territory sever all ties with Russia. Now, listen, the United States should not be interfering in Russian business, nor should be interfering in Japanese business. But there is a feeling that this Ukraine thing is going to continue to go out of hand and that it's not going to get any better. And the U.S. is continuing to add new sanctions to try to make it more and more difficult for Russia to do business. Now, as of yet, it's been allegedly having some impact, but we'll see how this plays out. I think it would be preferable at this point if the United States were not as involved into this. I think the name USA probably shouldn't be the first thing that we think of when we think of the Russia-Ukraine war. So, that doesn't end very well. Moving on. Bitcoin might hit six figures and reach 110,000, analyst reveals, and gives a timeline. So Bitcoin is trading on the back foot this year and is rarely displaying any signs of a breakthrough. The leading crypto has been down for several months and fell below the 20,000 mark. However, Bitcoin jumped nearly 10% today, turning the entire cryptocurrency market green for the last 24 hours. A leading crypto analyst who goes by the pseudonym Crypto Kaleo on Twitter has predicted that Bitcoin could touch 6 digits. The analyst is bullish on Bitcoin and claims that the crypto will jump 400% after the bear market is over. Kaleo shared a chart, 500,000 followers on Twitter, predicting Bitcoin will reach 110,000 in late 2024 or early 2025. Now you can see right here, he's really kind of predicting at this point that what we're doing right now is just going to start going up from here. I don't think that he's accounting for some of the issues that we faced, but we'll see. This guy's got the next 18 months or so through the next halving in March of 2024, defined by a crab market staying above high time frame logarithmic support. Late 2024, early 2025, we finally see a new Bitcoin all-time high and a six-figure Bitcoin. I want to clarify, I think Bitcoin does go higher than what this chart shows, 110,000. That's still a 5x from the current price, and that's not bad. It might even outpace inflation. So he's definitely thinking positive about what's going on in the Bitcoin universe in the long term. And as you can see from this chart here, he really doesn't have a hugely bearish sentiment here. He does think that this thing is just going to continue moving. So we'll see how that plays out in the coming years. Next, Ethereum is a security, MicroStrategy's CEO says, and for those of you that know, that's Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor says that Ethereum is a security by definition and using the Howey test. And his statement and his explanation is incredibly specific, and it really does, in the course of the Howey test, end up saying that Ethereum should be considered a security. Now, he also believes that most of the crypto market are unregistered securities and that they should be registered with the SEC. Now, the reason that Michael Saylor says that Ethereum is a security is, number one, because people are investing into Ethereum with the expectation that the value of this product is going to increase, and that the developers, and this is important, that the developers are changing and adapting the product so as to continue to create additional value for the investors who are putting their money in the product. So, by all rights, that does make it a security. The reason that he says that this is a security and that Bitcoin is a commodity is basically because Bitcoin doesn't do anything. Bitcoin is simply a store of value, and as such would go into a commodities market like gold or silver or any other metal or food, something like that. So that's his sentiment and that's his feeling, because Bitcoin at the end of the day is still just Bitcoin, whereas Ethereum is many things to many different people and does a whole lot for a whole lot of different people, including layer 2 solutions. It houses the Polygon network. It is evolving in from proof of work to proof of stake. So there's a lot under the hood that he believes turns Ethereum into a security. And I think at this point, as we start to get into regulating cryptocurrency, then we probably will be looking at it that way. And I am sure that there's going to be a requirement pretty soon that will classify Bitcoin as a commodity and everything else as a security until further notice. Moving on. Coinflex reveals its deficit has risen to $84 million. Now, for those of you that are not paying attention, Roger Ver, who is the owner of website Bitcoin.com, Coinflex has released a new update on its current issue with Roger Ver. Now, according to the update, the exchange deficit has now risen to 84 million because it did not take into account the loss in liquidating his significant Flexcoin positions. Coinflex explained that the situation was caused by a high net individual customer who had a special agreement with the exchange to have a grace period to send more collateral when the account faces liquidation. The individual has, however, refused to honor this agreement, which has resulted in a huge loss for the exchange. Coinflex continued that it has started an arbitration process in Hong Kong against this individual, which could last for as long as 12 months, per the statement. We have commenced arbitration in Hong Kong IAC for the recovery of this 84 million, as the individual had a legal obligation under agreement to pay for and has refused to do so. His liability to pay is a personal liability, which means the individual is personally liable to pay the total amount. So our lawyers are very confident that we can enforce the award against him. Coinflex also apologized to its users over the current situation, saying it is not a position we ever envisioned we would be in. The Coinflex largest individual customer has been revealed to be Roger Ver, one of the earliest investors in the crypto industry, tagged Bitcoin Jesus. Roger Ver has, however, insisted that he does not owe the exchange. Rather, he is being owed by the firm. He is telling them that they owe him money, contrary to what they're saying. Ver on July 3rd on a Twitter space said that Coinflex owed him. According to him, his statement is probably going to be disappointing to the people that are on the call here, but due to the lawyers that have already been involved in the legal complexities there, all I can say at the moment is I have no debt with Coinflex. He also mentioned that he's working towards the recovery of the funds by involving lawyers in the case. So crazy times, crazy things happen, but listen, it seems like crazy things follow Roger Ver. Wherever he goes, there's always some kind of controversy. So we'll see how this plays out over the long term. Don't take financial advice from him, though. All right, let's move on here. Coming recession is going to hit crypto, but not as hard as you think. These are a couple different articles that we want to check out. We want to get kind of a read on here. The squeeze on people's disposable income caused by high inflation has had a big negative impact on stocks and crypto markets. We're now in a highly volatile economic environment, so it's almost impossible to look much further ahead with any degree of confidence, and we don't need to return to economic growth to kickstart the crypto market. We need a recovery in the NASDAQ index of tech stocks. If a recession isn't here already, many economists estimate it's coming very soon. Now, I'm of the opinion that we are in it. We just haven't labeled it yet, obviously. The label comes on the 28th of this month when we produce a negative GDP for 2 quarters in a row. So that obviously means that we are already in it. So the largest in the world, the U.S. economy, contracted by 1.6 in the first quarter of the year. And even if it somehow doesn't contract in the second quarter, a growing number of economists are predicting a recession for 2023. Now, I think that's moving up, and I think that we're going to get a -2 on this one. So we'll be in a recession. There's no doubt it's a hard time for the global economy right now, with inflation reaching 40-year highs and central banks threatening a series of rate hikes. But it's also a bad time for the crypto market, seeing as how prices have fallen steeply around the same time that economic activity has shrunk. And it's important to understand the reason that this is happening is because crypto is one of the more riskier asset markets that there are. And what we've done is we've removed the riskiest of assets from the country as a whole's portfolio. So you can basically say that as you look at America, or you look at a different market, America has raised interest rates to make lending a little more cost prohibitive for the riskier investors, so that they're not borrowing money to play longs and shorts, or to do it less. That in turn causes them to take their money out of higher risk assets. And by doing so, they then put their money into lower yield but more secure things like the stock market, which we see that the stock market is not nearly as far down as the cryptocurrency market, but more importantly, bonds. So the bond market is now having a moment, and that, of course, strengthens the U.S. dollar, which of course weakens other dollars around the world, which is why on Monday the euro started to tank, quote unquote, because it was recognized that the U.S. dollar was brimming higher and higher, and the euro was starting to weaken. So that's the way this thing plays out. So just pay attention to it, and we'll watch it, and we'll see what happens. The opinion is mixed on whether we see a severe recession in the coming months. It's also mixed on whether such a recession would have a big impact on major crypto assets. That's because there's an argument that crypto asset prices aren't correlated to the global economy so much as stock markets, which could rally again if inflation subsides, then the rates increases stop. And what this person is trying to point out is just what I'm the risk. And the more risk you're willing to put out there, the more likely you are to get into the crypto space. Because listen, you go into the stock market, you go in there and you get your you get your 1x, you get your 2x, and you get, maybe if you're lucky, a 3x. You get a small yield on your return, and in the rare case, you get a big moon. But in crypto, you get a whole lot more, because the volatility is such that all you have to do is read the chart, learn how to do it, and the next thing you know, you're making money. So that's what we're talking about. And of course, when the bear cycle hits, it's a little more difficult to do just that, because it's very nervous to just sit there and stare at it, because you're having to play incredible dips sometimes as they go down with no up in sight. So it's a very careful sort of thing. So we have to be very careful about how we do it. And let's move on here. 5 ways that the super strong U.S. dollar could hurt the world economy. And that's what we're talking about. And that's what I keep talking about here. The dollar being so strong is going to create even more inflation. Petrol and most commodities such as metal or timber are usually traded in U.S. dollars. So when the dollar gets stronger, these items cost more in local currency. 2, low-income countries are under threat. Most developing countries owe their debt in U.S. dollars. So many owe much more now than a year ago. As a result, many will struggle to find an ever-increasing amount of local currency to service their debts. Other countries will buy fewer U.S. products as a result of the strong dollar. The U.S. trade deficit, which is the difference between the amount of exports and imports, already runs close to a mammoth $1 trillion per year. President Joe Biden and Donald Trump before him vowed to reduce it, particularly against China. Some economists worry that the trade deficit drives up U.S. borrowing and reflects the fact that many manufacturing jobs have moved overseas. Deglobalization to get worse. The most obvious economic policy to prevent a trade deficit from growing is the old game of imposing tariffs, quotas, or other barriers on imports. Other countries tend to retaliate against such protectionism, adding their own taxes and other barriers to U.S. products. In an era when deglobalization has already begun, thanks to worsening Western relations with Russia and China, a stronger dollar adds to the political momentum of protectionism and threatens global trade. And then the Eurozone fears. Remember, we have a weaker euro right now. Weaker EU members, states such as Portugal, Ireland, Greece, and Cyprus have become somewhat less vulnerable to investors driving up their borrowing costs to crisis levels than during the darkest days of the Eurozone crisis. This is because much of their national debt is now in the hands of the ESM, which is the European Stability Mechanism. So it's making it easier, but again, borrowing from and paying back the U.S. dollar is much more difficult right now because the dollar has achieved strength. And you know what? Let's talk about right here. Matter of fact, let's finish this off. The dollar has been rising for both economic and geopolitical reasons. The central bank of the U.S. has been hiking interest rates and also reversing its policy of creating money. This is with a view to curb inflation. The stronger U.S. dollar is a side effect of these high interest rates because the dollar now offers a higher yield when deposited in a U.S. bank. It encourages foreign investors to sell their local currency and buy U.S. dollars. So there you have it. This is what's going on. I don't know how this plays out. So we're going to have to pay attention. We're going to have to see. And now we're going to move on to the meme coins, to the Uniswap stuff that we know and love. First, We're going to talk about Volt. Volt is currently trading at 94.84 right now. It's on a little bit of a rise in the last few hours, as you can see right here, but it was correlated along with that little dip that we had in the overnights. We did see some downward momentum. So 94.84, 63 million market cap. That's an important number to know. 24-hour volume still maintains itself over 120,000 per day. Now, in just 6 months, we burned 5.4% of our supply. Our Ethereum contract only starts to burn tokens since April. We still have 1 million worth of Volt to manually burn at least. And Voltage change will burn on high voltage. Supply shock incoming. So that's just a little guesswork here by Voltoshi, who's saying that he believes firmly that once we start to do this 1 million worth of Volt that we're going to manually burn, plus what's going on with voltage change, then we're going to start seeing a much bigger reduction in the supply than we've seen thus far. And thus far, what we've really seen is about 5.4% of the supply. Now, taking that into consideration, if I'm an investor, it's a great time for me to make an investment into something that has not disappointed and let down anybody so far, except there's always an investor who buys the top. That's the way this works. Those investors will find it difficult to find positives in anything because they buy the tops and they're not making good estimates and guesses about when to get into a crypto. So those people, you're probably never going to please. But anybody who bought on the bottom is certainly feeling really good right about now. Also, the hardest working meme coin I've seen in this space. This is 207,000 followers. A gentleman by the name of Crypto Tony. Nothing is financial advice. Investing, DGen plays. Always contact you via DM. Always do your own research. Crypto Tony has 200,000 followers. The hardest working meme coin I have seen in this space is Volt. Loaded up at the lows, ready for the next wave. And that next wave is coming, guys. Just be ready for it. Be prepared. This thing is coming, and it's going to start going crazy, and it's going to be at some point very soon. Let's move on. All right, guys, if you're into Tera, and if you're trading Tera right now, you can see here it's trading at 1635, and here is the important news for Tera. Tera, in 30 days, will release Tera Pool version 2. This is from Milton at Terrarium. If you think Tera Pool version 1 was great, wait until you see version 2. The updated version will blow your mind. Updated in 30 days, the best crypto launchpad, Tera Pool. So let's do this. We're going to retweet that, get everybody involved. Very important. Terrarium. Guys, I think, again, this is a very long play for me. I'm anticipating that this is going to hit 20 billion minimum. And at 50 billion market cap right now, that gives me about a 40x from where I am right now. So that's a great position to be in. Moving on. All right, we want to talk about today Shibadoge. Shibadoge has been on quite a run. June 30th, since June 30th, at a low of 63.59. It is now run up to, right now, trading at 93.61, which is 50%. This is a little bit over a week. So it's up 35% on the week. And that's a pretty big number. And when you go over here and you kind of look around and you kind of poke in here to figure out what's going on, you can see here that there was a big donation, $50,000 for pediatric cancer research. You can see here that there's something going on with burn. And what you're witnessing is a large burn happening on Shibadoge. Now, the top wallets burnt a total of 50.4 million tokens in the Shibadoge.VIP burn. Now, something to understand here is that Shibadoge also runs the burn token, which you can see right here, is also having quite a little movement from 1397 all the way up to 2352, 2482 being the all-time high, right over here, just a little bit higher. So we're starting to get back to these points. And actually, I think the all-time high here is, what are we? Yeah, the all-time high is a little bit further away than what I'm saying here. That felt a little bit odd. So there was a nice little run over the last bunch of days. And now a little bit of retracement as well, down to the 2000s. but the total market cap of 4 million. And here's what you see when you deal with burn that you don't see when you deal with other tokens. You go over here and you look at the total supply, and you see that the tokens are actually being burnt off of the chain. They're using true burn technology, which is a smart contract, and it is literally removing these tokens from the chain so that the calculation for anything done is being done based upon how many remaining tokens in supply there are. Now that's different than the burn that's taking place on Shibadoge. If you look at the count on Shibadoge, it still has the same number of tokens as when it started. The place that those tokens are going is you go over to a holder wallet and it goes into this dead wallet. So you have 54.34% of the supply of Shibadoge is now in the dead wallet, and that's 228 quintillion, whatever the big numbers are nowadays. You can see that's where it is. That's where the tokens are. But on the burn tokens are gone. They're out of the supply. And what it does is it enhances the actual supply of the tokens in your wallet. Whereas on Shibadoge, what it does is it enhances the floor price, meaning that your floor price goes up and up and up. So it doesn't affect you up here. It affects down here and how low the price action can end up going. So I think there's some pretty big things that are coming. We did some analysis just recently. I think if any of you follow me for any length of time, you will have seen that what I did when I went over Shibadoge was point out that in meme coin space, the number one token that everybody has is, of course, Doge. The number two token that everybody has is Shiba. The number three token was, I think it was Ethereum. The number four token was Bitcoin. And number five was Shibadoge. So the top wallets in crypto, in Shiba, in Doge, they're holding Shibadoge. So it's just a matter of time before this thing starts to reduce its supply and it starts to get really crazy. And the notice continues to move this thing forward. Shibadoge is here to stay, guys. And finally, WANGME Games. Let's talk about WANGME Games for a second. Trading at 27.10. You can see here that it's kind of struggled. That's what you want to say when you see a chart like this. You say it's struggled a little bit. You can see that, when you start to pull out and move around here and try to get yourself an idea of what's going on, you can make a case that this thing seems to be moving, generally speaking, into an upside right here, that it seems to be heading upwards, and that it seems to be creating a wedge pattern, and you don't know which way it's gonna go, but you have to be aware that this is a reverse pennant right now, that you do also have this going down here, which turns this into a reverse pennant. Reverse pennants tend to break to the downside. Now, here's why I don't think that matters. If you kind of pay attention to WANGME Games, you'll know that the beta is launching very soon. I'm going to show you how to get into that beta in just one moment. But look at the trading over here. When you look at the trading volume, you don't see anybody using high dollar volume. The biggest that you can see here is 3.7 Ethereum. And that's somebody who's made their first exit, it looks like. And has never sold. So when you're looking at this, you're just not seeing volume that would indicate to you that there's some kind of mass exodus or there's some kind of real problem. What you're seeing is small trading volumes based on a $6 million market cap. A $6 million market cap that, in fairness, when the market conditions change and this thing actually launches, it's easy to see this thing at 500 million market cap, maybe even $1 billion market cap, because you're looking at Axie Infinity and you're seeing billions of dollars of market cap there. You're seeing billions of dollars of market cap in the sandbox. You're seeing billions of dollars in Mana. And Gala Games is having a nice run as well. I think it's around 382 million market cap right now. So the metaverse games, especially metaverse games where you can earn and learn and win, are going to be hot at some point. And when they really start to catch fire, and when you start to hear what the real people are really saying about the WANGME game, the players, when you start to hear what they're saying about it, then you're going to be as excited as I am to be part of that process. And remember, this is the version 2, and we are just days away from this right here. VIP launch waitlist now open. Be the first to play WAGME defense. If you're ready to enlist, you will get up to $50 in starter pack, which is mintable NFTs. Space is limited. Enroll now. So if you're interested, go to link.wagmegame.io/VIP launch. Be one of the first people to get in on it, and maybe we'll play each other because I do still play in the beta, and I have 3 of the Genesis NFT cards. So I'm pretty excited about my position, pretty excited about where this game's going. And I'm real happy with what they're doing so far. Even in a quiet time, I still have a lot of faith in WAGME. And you can see here that it's starting to, for anybody who's familiar, these things have started to modify themselves, and they're looking a little bit different than what they were before as the game expands and as the graphics and the artwork get just a little bit better. We were told by General Stamima that what we see right now is not what we will see in a year, that these characters are going to evolve. They're just going to start looking better. They're going to be more fun and engaging as they go. So I'm pretty excited about it, and I hope that you guys are going to be part of it as well. Now, moving on, we do have, I think we got BTFA. I don't think is moving very much. I don't really have any news to report on BTFA, but we do want to go over here and check real quick and see. It was churning about 54 last couple days, so now it's back to 51 right now. So you know, this seems to be the channel that it really favors right now. We saw a breakout here when the Bitmart announcement was made for Bandex, but then of course it retraced again because that really doesn't have anything to do with BTFA. It's really the DAO token in that ecosystem. And they're not tied enough together right now for it to have a sustained sort of impact. So the important thing over here is what's going on with the Bandex, and the Bandex is still pretty well up. It was up at 23.57, but again, the market's retracing a little bit, so we're seeing a little bit of some downside come back down. 1.7 million market cap. Full disclosure, I have 950 million of my tokens staked for 6 months, so I do have this on a long-term play. So I do have 1 billion tokens, and as you can see, I think 1 billion tokens is worth about $1,800 right now. So if this thing does, 10 million market cap, and I have double the tokens when it comes back out, then we're going to be talking about it's a 5x, so about a $20,000 play. So I feel pretty good about Bandex and where it is, and where we're going to be when we start to get into a more bullish market. I don't think in 6 months we're even going to be in a bull run, but I think that the market conditions will be better, and we'll feel a little bit more bullish about our position there, even though a lot of the information coming out did say that we probably have until 2023 before we start to really see and experience the recession. I think we're going to experience it now. So, maybe we'll experience the worst right now, and then maybe that worst will pass us by in very quick succession. So we'll see what happens. But let's move on. All right, guys. That's all I got for today. Wanted to come out here, just kind of give you guys some news, give you a little bit of an update for the day on a pre-recorded basis. Today is laundry day. I have to do all that kind of stuff right now, but just wanted to give you guys a little update, a little bit of the news, what's really going on in the world. Not answer questions or anything, but I do have this coming up. So we're going to have a show called Believes, and you'll be able to ask crypto questions. We're going to do it live. We're going to see how it goes live. I might end up having to take questions for it, but we're going to at least get an idea about whether or not it's fun, whether we have fun, we have good time, whatever it is. So we'll see. Just remember, guys, this is not financial advice. My name's Believes. I'm always right. And the best thing you could do, support the channel, become a member. There's about 50 members right now. I sure would like to get it up to 500 or so. So you guys have a good day, And we will talk to you again for breakfast